Awesome.
Everybody watching, this is Dom from 702 Serpents on Instagram. Works with some hot bloods. Go check him out. He's got some nice stuff. So I think we can kind of just start this off. Like, what do you do? What do you breed? Just kind of talk about your stuff.
So currently, I just got back into the reptile hobby pretty heavy within the last 3 years. I've been keeping reptiles my entire life, like everyone else, and some stuff happened, so I kind of got out. But I always kept a little thing here or there,
Right.
whether it was a berm or some amphibians or some tarantulas. But recently, I went to a show a couple of years back, and I saw some bloods, and I just fell in love.
Yeah. Yeah, they're very special. You know, I always compare them to ball pythons just to annoy ball python people. But they're honestly so unique. I mean, it's just
Right.
something about them is just so different to any other reptile that I've worked with.
I totally agree.
Yeah, they're very, very special snakes to me. I mean, what about them really resonated with you?
The fact that, I mean, they're a big body snake without being as big as a retic or a berm or anything like that. Like, I mean, mainland retics can get upwards of 15 feet. Bloods are still impressive and they stay, 6 foot max.
Yeah,
So they're still an impressive snake. Plus, I mean, their maintenance is super easy.
yeah, they are very easy. When it comes to like their care, I would honestly say they're easier than ball pythons.
Oh, definitely. I mean,
They're just so simple.
yeah, I totally agree. I used to, when I was 15 to 17, I was breeding ball pythons, and it was definitely a lot more work than just keeping. I mean, right now I'm up to like 15 bloods, and it was definitely a lot more work back then than it is right now.
Yeah. I mean, something that I was actually shocked, like when I first started researching bloods and kind of getting into them, like their low temperatures.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
like that really surprised me.
like mine currently, I don't even use any any hotspots. I keep mine at an ambient room temperature of about like 81, 82, and they thrive perfectly. I mean, they all eat, they digest food perfectly, they all look good.
Yeah. I mean, I've definitely been like kind of diving deep into like how broad actually reptiles can actually handle different temperatures.
Right.
For a long time, I kind of thought like, all right, if it's like 1 degree off, they're dead, you know?
Right.
That narrow-minded look on things. And now, I mean, I keep my king snakes. I keep the room I'm in now. I keep it at around 75.
Hmm.
My king snakes are just on ambient. I just have
Yeah,
them on room temp. They're laying eggs. They're eating. They're everything's
yeah. I
going
mean,
on with them. And it just works for my bloods. I have them on a hotspot just because I can't get my room hot enough to keep them on
right.
ambient. So I have the hotspot 82. I mean, it's just
Yeah, I mean that's perfect.
easy.
Yeah, I wanted to experiment with running ambient for them
Yeah.
because I had a hotspot originally for my original female, and she was kind of just like super like aggro. But I think I was keeping her too hot because I was keeping her like my ball pythons before, so I was keeping her at like 89.
Right.
So I took that away, and then I just bumped up the ambient temperature, and she's a sweetheart.
That's interesting. My female, she's a devil. I mean, like,
Yeah,
she's bad. And she's big. She's almost 6 foot, around 20 pounds.
right.
So she's one of those snakes where it's like, yeah, I'm gonna be really careful around you.
Yeah, I
You know,
mean, you definitely don't want to bite from that. I mean, they're super quick too, especially when they strike there, and the power that comes with it, it's pretty insane.
yeah, I got nailed by like a decently sized male. He was around maybe 4.5 foot.
Right.
And even just that, like it's like getting swacked.
Yeah,
Like
it's
the
that's
punch
definitely
is
not.
more than the teeth.
Yeah, they hit hard. I mean,
These are
I had
really-
one, my female ivory het teenag. I fed her 2 days ago, and she hit the rat, and the rat just completely like ripped apart. And I was like, wow,
Yeah,
definitely don't want to get hit by that.
same thing happened with my female. Jumbo rat She smacks it, and guts flew onto my face.
Yeah, relatable.
It was horrible. But it's definitely something I find so amazing about them. Like, they are so heavy bodied. You look at them, you're just like, oh, they're going to be fat, lazy, slow, you know?
Yeah. No, they're super athletic given the right scenario.
Very athletic. But I also find it funny because, like, they're very athletic, but the second I have mine, like, climb over my arm or something, they kind of just flop off because they can't.
Yeah. It's because they're super heavy bodied.
Yep.
Yeah, they're just meant to be terrestrial snakes.
Yeah, I had a very interesting argument with someone claiming they should be kept arboreally.
That's wow.
Yeah,
I don't think that person's ever kept a blood.
Yeah, it was an interesting conversation. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I mean, they almost don't even like. There's sometimes where I'll go in and I'll check, for a couple days straight, and they don't even move.
My female hasn't left her hide box. Almost 3 months.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're the perfect ambush predator. They're super patient. They never move.
Yeah,
they're great snakes. I mean,
they are, and that's something I also enjoy about them. I mean, they're like low space requirements.
Right.
It makes them even more easy to keep. And yeah, I mean, kind of switching the topic, staying on bloods though, but like genetics, right?
Right.
There's a lot of new stuff coming out.
Oh, ton. It's so exciting, but also it's almost like the ball pythons. I mean, clearly not to the same level, but it's super exciting to see.
It is. I think one of the most excited I've ever been to see in a blood. I was shaking when I was holding this animal. It was just a few days ago. I was up at New England Reptile. They're just down the street from me.
Oh wow, that's super cool.
I see on one of their store racks for their baby snakes, I see special blood python. I'm like, all right, I got to know what that is.
Oh wow.
All right, I want you to try and guess what this thing was.
I mean, could it have been a pied?
It was a het pied.
Wow.
It had a pair of het pied babies.
Dude, I want a pied so bad. I can't even explain to you. If someone offered me a pied right now, I would cry and thank the Lords that they offered it to me. It's so nice, dude. I mean between Nick, you've seen Nick's, I'm sure, right?
Oh yeah.
Nick's and then Balthazar reptiles. There's a couple out there and they all look amazing.
Yeah. I know there's like a waiting list.
Waiting list from who?
I'm not aware of like
okay.
But there's a waiting list that you can get on for pies.
I need to ask around because I definitely want on that list.
They've got to be like tens of thousands of dollars though.
But I mean, I'd do it for sure. I'd do it.
You would really?
I probably wouldn't eat for the next 2 months, but I would do it for sure.
I would be
just
praying I could do it, but like I couldn't. I wouldn't even have that in my bank.
But could you imagine opening your rack and just seeing one? I mean, it would be
worth it. Yeah.
Actually, speaking on genetics, there's something that I've noticed with bloods, and I don't know if you made the same observation, is that there doesn't seem to be any like codominant mutations, like let's say spider or pinstripe in ball pythons, where there's no superversion. It seems like everything in bloods so far that I've seen either has a superversion or is a recessive.
What about cherry bomb?
Cherry bombs are like, they're an albino, but it's like a special like lineage of albino.
Oh, okay. So
yeah, so cherry bombs are like, they're more purple.
Okay, so then it would be recessive.
Yeah, so cherry bombs are like super nice T positives.
Holy shit.
I mean, if you like, I was thinking about it, and I mean, if you really think about it, besides like maybe Lily, but Lily is kind of like also a trait enhancer almost. It's not necessarily, but I don't think there's an actual, so far from what I've seen, I don't think there's an actual codominant mutation in bloods.
Right. I mean, and genetic stripe, that's just a trait, right? That's not a full gene.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. No,
Because there's so many different lines of G stripes. I mean, the only G stripe that I think is an actual real G stripe would maybe be like pollens and flowers.
right.
But I mean, I with that being said though, I do have a couple cold-blooded earthline stripes because I like the way they look and I like the super stripes. But even with that, I mean, you breed two of the stripes together, you get a super stripe. So I mean, I don't think there's any really codominant mutations out there. They just haven't been found yet.
That is a great point. I kind of skimmed over that. That's interesting. I also have noticed like there's a very high amount of incomplete dominance.
Yeah.
Like
definitely.
a lot. Like seeing how the blood genetics are just coming up, the amount of incomplete doms are like crazy.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, but I think that's the fun part of it though. I mean,
I definitely prefer incomplete doms than any other type of gene.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, they're just the ideal when you think of genetic stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, they would be GoldenEye and Matrix. They produce
both have.
Those are both codoms.
Mm-hmm. But those also both have super versions as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so like I was thinking about it, and I don't think I have I don't think I've ever come across one that doesn't have a super that's not a recessive.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm gonna go grab my male blood.
Okay.
Have some eye candy to look at.
He looks so good.
Yeah, no, he's a good looking boy.
I'm a huge fan of T-neg. I much prefer T-neg to T positive.
I definitely prefer the T-negs, but I really want a T-pos in my collection.
Oh no, I think there's definitely a spot in T-pos for my. I mean, I have a T-pos Batrix female. She's
killer.
Yeah, she's super horrible though. She lights me up every time I go in her cage, but she's super cool. But I just like the T-neg stuff. I love it. Like the pollens and the flowers. I want to definitely get into T-neg eventually.
Yeah, he's a good looking boy.
He's a T-neg matrix, right?
Yeah, he's a T-neg matrix G stripe.
Oh, okay.
His stripe isn't the most prominent.
I mean, but he can throw some awesome babies though.
Yeah, I am
some awesome 007 babies.
I am praying to get a 007 stripe.
That would be, and it'd be 100% T-neg. That'd be super sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, he looks super good.
Yeah, he's a good looking. He's super chill as well.
Yeah, looks like he has a good demeanor. Yeah, so, what else are you interested in? What projects are you looking to get into?
So, I've got the bloods, right? That's going to be my big thing. I also want to dive into like the Sumatrans and the other species.
Borneos.
Right. Yeah, Borneos for sure. Sorry if you hear any background sound. I got a bird.
No, it's all good.
I'm big into the carpets. Right now, I've only got a pair, but I want to dive kind of deeper into those.
Right.
And then the king snakes. Those are kind of my things. I don't know if I'm going to get into other things. I might do milk snakes in the future.
Right.
But that's kind of it for now. What about you? I know you.
Oh, good.
What about you?
Right now, I'm huge into Odatria, all the Australian dwarf monitor species.
Right.
And the satanic leaf tails.
Oh,
those are yeah. Other than that, it's pretty much bloods. Bloods are my main focus, but it's nice to have some side things that, you know, you could just look at, especially with monitors. I mean, they're super inquisitive, fun to look at.
I do love the monitors. I know you have a Cantharis. Do you have any other species?
I do. I have some Tristis, which are super cool. The they're really cool, and they're the largest of the dwarfs.
Yep.
But the Acantharis have been so far the only thing I've been able to produce.
Right.
I'd like to get some Kimberleys down the road.
Kimberleys are my favorite.
Yeah, their necks and their heads are just incredible.
Yeah, I love the Kingorum as well.
Yeah, the leucistics.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. I'm waiting for Mike's monitors to offer some up for sale because I'd like some visual leucistics.
Yep, they're going to be hefty though. I can already tell that they're going to be.
I'm sure because normals I believe run 1,200.
Really?
So I'm sure leucistics will be upwards of 2,000.
Yeah. Yeah, I almost feel like it's worth it though. Like there's like monitor genetics are such a rarity.
Oh, for sure. I mean, outside of like maybe water monitors, I mean, there's not much where like, genetic play comes into it. It's pretty much just localities and stuff.
Yeah, I can definitely appreciate the locales though. Like some good quality locality stuff, I can dig that.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I'm huge in the localities when it comes to like other species. But I mean, like everyone else, I also like my eye candy, like with bloods, and like I don't keep any ball pythons currently, but I do keep up to date, or try to at least, like with what's new and what's hot, because I started with ball pythons, and
Right.
I do enjoy looking at them, but I currently don't have any. They're just, no offense to all the ball python keepers, but they're just a little boring.
They are definitely boring. I mean,
they're just.
I always throw slander on the ball python people just because it's such a memeable thing,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's just they're literally, like everyone says, they're pet rocks.
They're pet rocks. They always go off feed.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong though; they're great for a snake for sure.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
for what I was looking for, I mean, it just didn't fit. And bloods, I mean, if you really pay attention, you can see. I mean, their eyes follow you. Bloods are super inquisitive as well. People always talk about how retics are some of the smartest snakes. Bloods are super intelligent.
Very intelligent. That was a great point to bring up about the eyes. I was so surprised when I first saw that for my female. Right. I mean, like they just follow you. Like they fully
on you. Yeah, you're not, and that's not necessarily normal in a snake. No,
it's really not, and I think it's underappreciated about them.
Right. Oh, definitely.
I feel like people kind of overlook the intelligence of bloods because they're kind of known for just being asshole big hunks, Yeah,
they're the pit bulls of the snake world almost.
Yeah, that's the reputation they get, and I think it's not exactly fair.
No, I 100% agree.
This is the little noisemaker.
Super cute.
Yeah, he's a good boy. So where do you like kind of see yourself going with bloods? Do you want to get more known or this or that?
No, to be honest with you, I'm doing it for myself. Like I want to produce things that I want to see. Like I want to be my biggest customer.
Right.
And like, bloods aren't like ball pythons where you produce 10 clutches of ball pythons and you have 60 babies. You produce 10 clutches of bloods, and I mean, that's well over 100 babies. So yeah. I definitely don't want to be stuck with, a bunch of babies. It's definitely more for me.
That's great. Do you want to try and go full time with the breeding? Do you want to have it as like a more of a business staple? Or
I think I would be lying to myself if I said I wouldn't. I feel like everyone that keeps some sort of or breeds some animals would love to go full time. That would definitely be ideal. But like I said, I just want to produce cool things that I have in my head that I'd like to see.
Right. What are like the big things you want to produce when it comes to bloods?
Definitely flowers and pollens, like T-negative flowers. I definitely want to see that. Or I don't know if have you seen the Toba gene yet?
No.
So Tobas are super nice, and I eventually this season I want to get one. I know Elijah over at Juggernaut Reptiles is producing a clutch, and I'd like to get my hands on one to put into the flowers. It's just it blows up the side laterals, which I think would go great with something that has a pretty predominant stripe.
Right. Yeah, I can definitely imagine that. I would love in the next years to produce a T-neg T-pause.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I don't
You
even know
should.
like, how that would play out, how that would look, but I think it'd be
Have you
cool.
seen Have you seen Karmas?
No.
So Karmas, from what I understand, are they usually carry both genes, and it's only a gene that shows itself if it carries both the T-neg and the T-pause gene. So almost like if you had a T-neg karma or a T-pause karma, it'd usually be het for the other. And it's like a super enhancing gene. It almost does like what fire does for ball pythons.
Huh. I'll
Yeah,
have to look into it.
it's still like I'm still like it's still super confusing. I definitely like have like a little like handle on it, but it's definitely something that I'd have to look more into. But karmas are super cool.
Yeah, that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm pretty new to the whole like genetics side of things.
Hmm.
Um,
But that's perfect because you can, you have so much to research and look up, and
yeah.
that's the best part of it. Every time I see a new blood, I get excited.
Oh yeah, it's exciting. I think something that's really drawn me to them is even with a relaxed specimen, even with my male, for example,
Mhm.
like I'm still kind of on my toes,
Oh, definitely. I mean, you definitely don't want to get tagged by something like that.
100%. And what I always found interesting about them is like, at least in my experience, I don't know if you've had this, but certain genetics seem to have a play on attitude.
Definitely.
So like I've noticed that golden eyes tend to be more nippy.
Yeah.
I've noticed matrix tend to be a little on the jumpy side. But then I've noticed like albinos, T-negs, and T-paws are like usually super
Way
chill.
chiller. Hmm. Yeah, I
More,
haven't.
more pretty
Oh, go
chill.
ahead. Mm. Yeah, I have an ivory female, and she's definitely a little nippy. It seems like everything that I have with Matrix is a little bit more like on edge sometimes. Um, but yeah, my T-neck stuff is super chill.
Yeah. How do you do a lot with the kind of I call them whiteout morphs, like the ivories and the 007s and the magpies and stuff like that?
So I don't have any magpies right now, but I do have an ivory. I do have a 007, stuff like that. But that was more like those were some of the first snakes I purchased.
Really?
And yeah, well, for bloods, and those are kind of like, whenever someone's getting into something, they buy what they like to see,
Yeah.
instead of having a direct plan for what they want to do with it.
Right. 100%. I definitely think the I just call them whiteout morphs. It's just what my mind
Yeah,
came.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense though.
Yeah. I always liked those more than pretty much anything else. I just
Yeah.
found them so attractive. And like
Oh, for sure.
when they get big, like adult 007s and magpies and stuff, like,
Yeah, especially the super clean ones.
oh yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna be honest. There's a lot of times where I mistake like dirty magpies for just like nice looking golden eyes.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that's just the variation though. That's why I love them so much. I mean, there's so much
Yeah.
variation from you
Yeah.
get super clean magpies with no pattern to super dirty magpies. I mean, that's why they're such an awesome species in
They
my
really are.
opinion because
And I was really surprised about like how that even just a little bit of pattern variation with those morphs changes the price by like hundreds of dollars. Like
yeah,
if you have a nice magpie, and I'm talking like very clean, that's
yeah,
like that's a lot of money,
yeah, for sure. For sure.
$1,700 up,
Yeah.
right? And then when you have a dirty one, it's like $900,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
$1,000.
But
Um,
I mean, that's like I said, I feel like that's what's great is that there's
it
something for
is.
everyone.
Yeah. And what I also like about it is like, let's say you're a beginning blood python breeder and you want to get into some of the nicer genetic stuff. If you buy a pair of kind of more dirty magpies, let's say for $1,100 a pop, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, you're $2,200 in, you produce them, and let's say you produce a really clean magpie, right? Because with a whole clutch of magpies, you're probably going to produce a clean one.
Yeah, one. Yeah.
You're just going to make your money back from that one baby, pretty much.
Yeah,
so
and
that's what I appreciated about it. Is it's like just because they're dirty doesn't mean their offspring are going to be dirty.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, I'd imagine that, especially like you said, with a whole clutch. I mean, especially if you get an average of 12 eggs, I mean, you're bound to get super clean ones.
Yeah, exactly. Have you gotten any blood clutches yet?
I haven't even paired. Like
raising.
with all my bloods, I started with babies.
All right.
Because like with ball pythons, when I was doing it when I was younger, I was buying like adult females. I mean, this was like when adult females were like $400-$500 for normals, and I was just buying adult females. But I kind of, like I said, I'm doing this more for me, so I kind of like raising the snakes myself and
100%.
seeing, I want to put them on my feeding regimen, and I want to see their temperament, and I just, I stray away from buying adult snakes now unless like I really like it.
100%. I definitely get that. I went the opposite route. I got most of my collection as adults, but from like trusted breeders. I got my blood pair from Juggernaut.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I got pretty much all my king snakes from breeders that I personally know. Pretty much the only babies I have right now are my carpets.
Okay.
But the one thing that kind of sucks, let's say you're trying to breed and you're just kind of impatient like I was and you get adults, like you're paying for it, like.
Oh, for sure. It definitely out of
price
pocket.
tag is gnarly.
Especially with the quality from someone like Elijah over at Juggernaut. I mean, you're definitely playing a decent amount.
No, yeah. I mean, I paid more than I want to admit.
I know the feeling. I have some babies that I definitely paid a lot for that. I mean, and they were babies, so it was kind of like, what am I doing? I still have to raise them for 4 to 5 years, I mean, it's just one of those things.
100%. Would you mind showing us some of the bloods you pulled?
Yeah, so let me get some.
Grab a snake as well. Oh boy.
Yeah, so this is a big, well, not necessarily huge, but a teen egg stripe girl.
Yeah.
And she's super chill. She's one of my most relaxed bloods that I have for sure.
Dude, that stripe is gnarly.
Yeah, it's super yellow. That's why I picked her up. I loved it.
Very nice. It's the boy I got out. This is my high white Cali King.
Oh, he's super sick.
Yeah. I got this dude for such a sweet price as well.
Do you have any Mexican blacks?
I don't. Next year, I want to get into those. The only pain in the ass is they're like very expensive. And then
for sure.
When you pair them, the shitty thing with king snakes is they like to eat each other.
Yeah.
So I would just be so nervous pairing
those. That would be devastating.
Yeah, big time. But yeah, for now I've got a pair of Florida Kings, and then I've got a pair of Cali Kings.
Okay.
My female Florida King, she's really young, so I'm gonna have to give her a few years. My male Florida, he's an adult, and then next year I've got to pair up the Cali Kings.
Okay. Let me grab something else real quick.
Yeah, that one's nice. Is that it's got a lot of reds on it. Is that like a certain line of it, or is it just a nice one?
No, she's just she's super nice. She's just developing super well.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, and she's a normal teen egg. I mean, yeah, she has a G stripe, but other than that, she's pretty normal. She's just, like I said, developing super good reds.
That's awesome. Yeah, she's definitely going to be a nice one to breed. Got lucky on that.
And this is a pollen male I picked up from Nick over at Cold Blooded Earth.
Fuck, that thing's nice.
Yeah, and I love the way his head is super dark.
Yep. I've got a really nice new male blood. Probably going to pick it up later this month. It's just a normal, but it's like almost solid black.
Oh, that's super cool.
It's not Sumatran though. It is actually a blood.
And a blood. That's super cool. I mean, that's how new morphs are found.
Yeah, it's got, so the head is entirely black, like very black head. And then the whole body is just gorgeous. So
yeah, that's why I picked up this pollen male, is I love the contrast of his head and the reds.
Yeah, that's a gorgeous male. I mean, that male, he looks pretty close to breeding size as well.
Yeah, he's a 2020.
You think maybe next season you'll have some pairings?
Yeah, next season for sure. Like the teen egg female, she's 10 pounds. But I didn't want to push it if I didn't have to, you know. I'm not in a rush.
Better safe than sorry, especially with upcoming females.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people like to keep them at like 12 pounds. I was talking to Elijah, and he said that all his females, he likes to at least get 12 pounds on them before he pairs them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the one thing I have heard is that when females get like too big, they can get unbound.
Yeah, like when they get super heavy.
Yeah. I'm a little nervous of that with my female. I think we should be good, but we'll see.
I mean, that's going to be a good clutch. I'll definitely need a 007 head teen egg from you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll give you a good price. Let's see, what else can I pull out? So this boy, he's the biggest asshole that I have. He's my male Florida King.
Oh, okay. I love the way they wag their tails like that.
Yeah, no, he's a proper asshole.
Yeah, I definitely need some colubrids.
Yeah, they're definitely fun. I love how like different they are from the pythons, because I've always done a lot with bows and pythons, you know, and then kind of switching to colubrids. They're so different. I mean, it's just amazing.
Right. Here's a CVE stripe matrix. I mean, if you can see, like, I definitely like stripe jeans.
Dude, stripe is gorgeous.
Yeah, they're definitely my favorite. And then his sides are super clean.
Very clean. I love that belly patterning right when it switches to the stomach.
Yeah.
All the speckling.
Yeah, he's super nice.
That's a nice male. All
he's also past that teen egg, you know. Hopefully he proves out.
All right. Let's talk about U.S. ARC for a second.
Yeah, definitely. Super important.
Yeah, super important. And the current legislation, I can't speak.
Legislation.
There you go. That's being proposed right now. Like, people need to realize it doesn't only affect us reptile keepers.
No, definitely not.
It's going to affect everyone who keeps anything other than dogs, cats, sheep.
And dogs. Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
anything that's not the normal domesticated animal.
Yeah. And what I found absurd about it, so when I first heard about it, the first thing that I originally thought was like, all right, holy shit, like reptile expos, they're done. 90% of breeders, they're done. Yeah. And all those things are true. But then what I started to realize is it's so much more than that. Like, if you want to move out of state and you want to bring your reptiles with you, like, you won't be able to.
Right.
if you have a exotic vet that you need to go to, that's only one is
somewhere
across,
else, right?
you can't.
Yeah, it's horrible. I mean, it's like that now with some species, I believe, right? Like retics, like you can, I believe retics you can't move out of state, correct? In certain states.
In certain states, yeah. I think Texas, I think Florida, you can't bring them in.
Right.
Um,
Well,
and
Florida, you can't own worms currently, right? Unless it's grandfathered in.
yeah, but it's impossible to get them grandfathered in like new. You know, you
Yeah.
have to right when
Yeah,
the
you have to have already had them when they went through.
yeah,
Which is
exactly.
crazy because I mean, if you think about it, I mean, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I can definitely acknowledge that iguanas and berms are a huge problem in Florida. But also, I mean, if you want to keep them, I mean, you can't. I mean, and that's just it's horrible.
Yeah, and I mean, what I always try and bring up when Florida comes up, because let's be honest, man, like Florida's a shithole
Oh,
when it comes to invasive species. I mean,
yeah.
it's an absolute dump with
Yeah,
invasive
I
species.
mean, it's
Um,
perfect for everything to thrive.
yeah, exactly. And what I always like to talk about with it is the fact that it's not just the pet trade and it's not just people releasing animals that's the problem. Like most of Florida's Everglades has been split up from roads and buildings and marinas and,
Right.
boat trips and all these things that people have just pushed in, pollution. I mean, holy crap, so
Oh,
much.
yeah, for sure.
Um, and that's honestly just as big as a problem as berms and iguanas and tegus and all these things that are
Hmm.
invasive there, because your native animals can't live in a, you know,
Yeah,
a pool of roads and pollution and all these
yeah,
things.
for sure.
It's just not possible.
And a lot of the time, I mean, the government uses like, Florida as like as an example. Like, oh my God, look at all these invasive species that have their population have blown up here. But what they also don't understand is that's not sustainable for other places. I mean, you drop 100 berms here in Vegas in the summertime. I mean, they're all gonna die. You drop them here in the wintertime, it was 31 degrees last night. I mean,
I mean, it's ridiculous. And the craziest part about this whole proposal, if a berm can live in Florida, it's banned in every single state to cross
mhm,
state borders.
that's what I'm
Like
saying. It's
a berm is going
ridiculous.
to survive in New Hampshire. I mean,
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
most nights in this winter have been in the negatives, in the
Yeah.
Fahrenheit negatives.
See, and yeah, you're a perfect example. You know how cold it gets, and it's definitely not surviving out there.
No
I
way.
mean,
It's
not just berms. I mean, majority of like, especially the bigger bodied animals. I mean, they're
yeah.
definitely
I mean,
not
even
surviving.
hibernating species like my king snakes,
Hmm.
like they hibernate in the wild.
Yeah.
They have brumation,
Right.
and they get down into low temps. It would freeze in a single night.
Oh, for sure.
It would not survive.
Yeah, and it's just the lawmakers don't understand that. They just see Florida and think it's that problem is going to happen everywhere else when in reality it definitely won't. There's very few places that um invasive species like can explode in population like that, and Florida is definitely the leader in that.
100%. And the sad thing is, like, a lot of the people pushing for this proposal, they don't actually know a single thing,
Oh,
you know?
definitely not.
And they say they're getting their information from professionals. Let's be honest, those professionals are just their forest rangers.
Yeah.
And the extent of their knowledge, I mean, they do great. I love forest rangers, right?
Hmm.
Without them, we would be in a lot of trouble with a lot of different things. But
Oh, definitely.
they're only versed in their native species.
Yeah.
They don't have any base knowledge on any reptile that we keep regularly.
Yeah, and it's like I said, it's just one of those things where I hate to use the word, but it's almost ignorance. I mean, they have no information, and they just assume things when they don't know any better, which really sucks. I mean, if you think about it, that everyone's going through this just on baseless claims because they don't know anything.
Yeah, no, it's really sad. And like, putting aside just like the keepers who will be affected by this proposal, like the amount of people that personally I am friends with that are going to lose their business.
Oh, yeah,
if this
for sure.
I mean, like even pet stores. Like, how do you expect pet stores that do reptiles
to get shipments in?
Exactly. I mean, it's just
it's horrible.
It's a load of shit. I mean, honestly, like that's very grunt, but like it's a load of shit.
I 100% agree. I mean, it just does it doesn't make any sense, and for them to this is where they're putting their energy into, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, 100%. And like, what I always get kind of annoyed about is like, all reptile keepers can agree that Burmese pythons are a problem in Florida. And
yeah,
I personally know more than 20 people in Florida that would, out of their own goodwill, for free, help to solve the problem. But Florida doesn't want it. It's almost like, and this is pure speculation. I don't want anyone to get upset about me saying this, but I almost feel like one of the big reasons they just don't do what they could be doing is just they get a lot of fame from it. I mean, the entire state of Florida gets tourists to see Burmese pythons. There's boat tours to see Burmese pythons.
Right.
The economy gets a lot from those states.
It's a sideshow. I mean, you can even pay. I know that you can pay people to take you python hunting too. Like, I've seen some. First of all, I don't subscribe to this idea, but I've seen some disgusting videos on YouTube where people are just like shooting berms with like pellet guns, and they're like shooting their bodies, or they're like, I mean, not even humanely killing the snake. I mean, and I don't understand how anyone can get any fun from that. It's just, it's horrible.
100%. And their excuse is always, oh, well, they're invasive. I'm like,
yeah, it's
animal
disgusting. Yeah,
I mean,
it's disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly don't really care what the people's reasonings are. What they're doing to these animals. It's like just inhumane. I mean,
there's no excuse for it. I mean, yeah, sure they're invasive, but I mean, you're torturing the animal. I mean, regardless of whether it didn't choose to, like I said, be born there, or like, it didn't choose to do any of that. And you're like you said, you're torturing the animal. I mean, it's horrible.
100%. And for anyone watching, wondering how they can help out in this situation, in this whole parade that we're fighting, usark.org. You can search them up. Go to their Instagram, usark. Donate to them. Become a member. Email your senators. Make phone calls. Send faxes. Yeah, those still exist. All these things that honestly take 10 minutes of your time to do,
and just becoming more knowledgeable on it and spreading awareness. I mean, that's also a huge thing.
Post on your story, post on your Instagram, make little snippets about it. I mean, even if you are the most broke person, I am willing to bet you can find a single dollar that, like, you won't realize how much of a difference those dollars make. Because if 1,000 people send $1, that's $1,000. And that's really what USARK needs right now, to be able to keep this industry, this hobby, and everything that we do alive.
Especially because there's no other organization doing what they're doing for us right now. I mean, there's such a huge, vital part of being able to keep what we keep and do what we do, and and if you don't support them, that's just, I mean, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and you don't even have to send money to support them. I mean, following them on Instagram, if that's
reposting, bring awareness,
it makes a difference. And I mean, they do such a good job as well. Like, I am honestly surprised how good they do. I mean, with this new proposal, it was hidden in 2,912 other papers.
Yep.
And I think it was only in like 2 sentences.
Mm-hmm. And that's what's the crazy part is, if USARK didn't go through and read those, 2,900 pages, I mean, no one would have ever known. Yeah, because who's going to take the time out of their day besides USARK? and read a 2,900-page document that they issue. I mean,
Exactly.
It's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Phil Gross, he does amazing work, outstanding guy. I mean, just all the props to him, you know.
Right.
So support US ARC.
Yes, please.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much it. If you have anything else you wanted to chat about.
No, nothing that's coming to mind besides, I mean, like I said, like you said, I mean, US ARC is just, we have to support them. I mean, if you keep anything, I mean, not just reptiles, it'd be dumb not to support them.
Yeah. If you have a single hermit crab at home, you should
Yeah,
still
right. And I mean, just the joy and the happiness that keeping these animals brings to all of our lives. I mean, why would anyone want that to be taken away from them? I mean, like you said, 1,000 people, 10,000 people, everyone donates $1. I mean, that still adds up.
Yep, exactly. I mean, yeah, I can't stress the importance of this. You know, people need to start realizing this isn't just about making an Instagram post or like a single state losing something. Like, this proposal will affect every single state from Hawaii to Florida to Alaska.
And I don't think the government realizes that how big of like a role, like actually how much revenue that animals actually bring in. I mean, the animal trade is huge. I mean, from pet stores to private breeders to, I mean, even with FedEx, I mean, how many animals are shipped every day through FedEx to their new homes?
It's $1 billion industry.
Yeah, easily. And I think that they forget that you know, it's really ridiculous. I mean,
it really is.
There's no reason for it.
You know, it's sad. Like it makes me like just upset, you know.
Yeah.
Not only losing my own rights, but like just the whole thing, you know.
Well, and you said you were buddies with nerds, so I mean, I can only imagine how badly they'd be affected by all this.
Yeah, that they're probably, if this passes, I can't imagine they're going to really be able to stay open.
No.
I mean, zoo creatures, the pet store under them, they'll probably keep running, you know.
Right.
But most
of breeding on such a large scale like that won't be able to even be sustainable.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I mean, most of the breeding stock will have to go. All that they can keep, they're going to have to supply with the store because they can't ship anymore, you know. So yeah, I mean, it's just shitty.
It's ridiculous.
But,
alrighty. I think US ARC is a good enough to leave.
Yeah, I think it's a great note to end it. Everyone watching, thanks for watching. Go support US ARC. Go donate. Give them your money. And yeah, that'll be the end of the stream.
Awesome.